Now let's just talk about the big elephant in the room. If you play our game, you can see when I zoom and I want to aim at something and go up, now our character, we can't see it, right? So what is the problem? Right and left is working fine, but up and down is not working. And if we go to left, we can go all the way back and it's not good. So we should have some limit and we should fix this problem that when we go up, we don't see the character. So the problem in here is that for aiming, we animate our camera to go further, right? So that is a good idea to do, but because we are using a spring arm, and a spring arm, let me show you what it is. It is something like this, okay? So with this spring arm or camera boom, we can change the location of the camera without changing the actual position of the camera. So for example, in here, we can bring this down, bring this up, change the length of this to change the camera position, not changing the actual camera position on this, right? So another one is like this camera rail. And in here, we can go forward, go backward, and all of that without changing the actual camera position. We are changing the boom setting, right? We are changing the rail or boom of our camera setting. We rotate, for example, something, it will go forward. We rotate it back, it will go backward. We can offset it to the right or left. So the camera is stay at the place at that boom or at that rail, that camera rail, but we are changing the setting of that camera rail or camera boom. So now if we go to our Unreal Engine project, go to viewport, if we click on the spring arm in here, you can see this red line is our camera rail or camera boom, and right now it always stay at 300 and we don't want that. In most cases like Gears of War, they are animating this spring arm with the camera as well, so they can create some cool stuff with that. So now what I'm going to do, I want to go to event graph, and instead of just repositioning the camera, I want to change, for example, the length of our spring arm. So what I want to do, I want to disable these two so we don't aim. And with that, if I click on our spring arm, you can see there is 300 in here. So first of all, for me to show you everything about this spring arm, what I want to do, I want to go to camera and change the position to 0, 0, 0, right? So this is 0, 0, 0 location for our camera. So if I play now, you can see it's not in a good place, right? It's not in a good place. We don't want something like that. So let's just now change the spring arm in here. And if we click on a spring arm, you can see the 0, 0 location for the camera is at the end of our spring arm. So if we change this target arm length to 150, now you can see we are changing the camera position with our spring arm, or we can call it camera boom or camera rail. We are animating our camera with the spring arm, and spring arm does have a lot of things. For example, if I again click on our spring arm and change the arm length to 300 again, and again, I want to click on our camera and I don't want it to be rotated. So let's just put rotation at 0 again. So no, it's at the default location. A spring arm length is 300 and camera is at 0, 0, 0 location and 0, 0, 0 for rotation, right? Let's just compile, and now if we play our game, you can see we are looking at the back of our character, but we want to move it up a little bit, move our camera a little bit, but not changing the camera location, but with changing the spring arm offset. So let's just click on a spring arm and you can see there is a socket offset in here. So what is this socket? This socket is at the end of this spring arm. So for example, if I put 30 in here, it will go up like 30, okay? And for example, let's just put 50 in here, and now if we compile and run, now you can see it's up. So again, if I click on the spring arm and change the Y, so for example 50 for this one as well, it will go to the right, you can see. So now we are giving it some offset. If we again compile and run, now you can see it's a little bit to the right. I want to put it more to the right again. So again, click on a spring arm, change this value to 80, for example. And now I think it is okay. And I want to change the X as well to get a little bit closer. So for example, 30, so it will go closer. And I think this position is good for our camera when we are not zoomed, okay? Now, if I click on our spring arm and change the target arm length to 150, let's see what will happen. If we run, and now you can see it's showing the right side of our character. And we are not aiming, so let's just leave it at that. Maybe we should bring it up a little bit, add this value to 60, and again, let's just compile and run. Let's just bring it to the left a little bit with this Y, 70, I think it's good. Let's just compile and run our game now. I think this position for when we are aiming is good enough. So what we are going to do, first of all, we have some offset for X, Y, and Z. And we have the arm length, okay, this target arm length to bring our camera back. So for example, if you put 300 in here, it's like the position for unzoomed. So let us see. I think this is cool now. Okay, everything cool with that. So now we can play with this target arm length to have aimed and unaimed state for our game.